Hello there, dear listener. We hope you're enjoying this lovely discussion. If you're not already aware, this show is part of a podcast network called KWAZ Radio, a Pan-African Nationalist and Garveyite network committed to showcasing the rich and varied thoughts of African people. We have an exciting lineup of shows that we think you'll enjoy, including
the Bitter Medicine Podcast.
I think black people acquire too much buy-in. Like, we constantly have to sell black people on things that are beneficial to black people.
The Pro-Black Perspective Podcast.
I'm fearful that our people are not really studying how to get ahead, and we're kind of, continually staying behind.
The Harsh Reality Podcast.
To me, it don't matter. I think people are so dumbed down, it wouldn't matter what you reveal to them. They still are in the matrix. They're in the simulation. They're going to keep doing what they did. They lemmings. So to me, it don't matter, man.
The Learning Curve Podcast.
Sexual access has never given you economic empowerment. The only person who has ever been economically empowered by a sexual relationship is the wasp and his woman.
The Cathedra Cheek Show.
When we start rising up to fight for our own, I guarantee you they'll stop doing what they're doing. I guarantee you they would have let their brother go. They was waiting to see what black folks was going to do.
Brother Bakari Podcast.
Black people love to claim folks that hate them, right? They're a slave master, and they are ashamed of who they really are.
The Forecast Radio.
Like, if you pray to the same deity as, like, your enemy, and that God blesses your enemy more than you may want to reconsider who you praying to,
And Tanzan, African Mind.
Africans generally are welcoming of everyone. Sometimes, to my consternation, I think that they should be less, welcoming.
If you love our podcast network, we would be grateful if you could rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. Follow us on social media, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and check out our website at www.kwazradio.com for more information. Thank you for tuning in. And now, back to the program.
All right. We're going to get back into character building. Shout out to our matron. Our matron's in the building. We're going to get back to character building. And I want you guys to understand that this is critical information. Some of the great pieces of writing you can find are going to be some of these old books. Like I told you, Marcus Garvey was inspired by Booker T. Washington. And what Booker T. Washington was able to accomplish, even if he was borrowing money, right, is more than most people accomplish today. And remember that this was a man who bared the whip, okay? Not many of us could say that we've done the same. So, character building, we're going to go to chapter 2, and this is about helping others. And I kind of want to just intersperse some lessons in this while we do this. So again, I appreciate everybody who came through. I see our matron. So appreciate our matron. And of course, she does readings too. And she's right now reading Cultural Misorientation. So you guys check that out, okay? But let's just go into this. So this is about helping others. So, and this is actually important. I want to bring up something that happened to me recently, I loaned out some money to, let's say, a brother-in-law, right? I don't know what happened to this guy, but I don't have my money back. But here's the problem, right? He's nowhere to be found. But I'm thinking he needed to get some money. He wanted the money to do a job, and the job would pay him more money. And then with the more money, he could pay for his kid's education. But basically, he probably didn't get paid yet. That's probably what happened. And basically his kid is sitting at home for like a month with no education. And some people, I put a poll on YouTube. People are like, hey, and I'm like, hey, what should I do? People are like, pay for that girl's education. Now, and I got a brother who said something pretty. It was like we was in Wendy's, the way the guy was giving out nuggets. You know what I mean? Like you sharing nuggets because you're in Wendy's, right? No, but the brother was like, when weak men, strong men step up, where weak men, step down. You know what I mean, or something like that, right? But the point is, you gotta be that person. But here's the thing. I'm not rolling in dough like that, Like, I know I said it was just $100, but shit, I need to hold on to my $100 till I get my damn tax return. And yeah, I'm broke like that. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know about that. You know what I mean? I don't know about having no $100 just giving away. And that's not just that too. I want to point out this too. That same girl has a cousin who's also sitting home from school. So you got two young ladies, 13 and maybe 15, I don't know. Both of them just can't go to school. And it has to do with, the let's say the failures of their parents. And of course, I could step in and step up, but, it becomes a little bit excessive, especially because, like, I have to still pay for my kid, and so forth. And for the people who are not paying attention, I don't sell that many books. You know what I mean? If I were selling books like hotcakes, sure, you would see me, but I'm not selling books like hotcakes. And not just that, I want to say this. Yeah, I got some bread, but I only have bread so I could get a bakery. You get what I'm saying? I shouldn't say that. It sounds worse when you talk about a child's education. But still, helping others. And this is our character. So he says, look, there are a few essential things in an institution of this kind, and I think it is well for you to keep ever before you. Right? There are a few essential things in an institution of this kind, and I think it is well for you to keep ever before you. This institution does not exist for your education alone. It does not exist for your comfort and happiness altogether, although those things are important and we keep them in mind. It exists that we may give you intelligence, skill of hand, and strength of mind and heart, and we help you in these ways that you, in turn, may help others. This is very, very important. I want to finish this paragraph, but this is very important when you're talking about what became of the African American character. Okay, so he says, we help you that you may help somebody else. And if you do not do this, when you go out from here, then our work here has been in vain. So we're talking about the African American character. And why are we talking about the African American character? Because Booker T. Washington worked hard in Black America. Okay? The character, the other book that you want to read from Booker T. Washington, maybe even just before you even hear this story, is Up From Slavery. Okay? In Up From Slavery, Booker T. Washington describes, his upbringing from slavery, obviously, but then also the impact that his institution, the Tuskegee institution, what impact it had on communities. And one of the things that he will tell you is that African Americans, for what it's worth and, for obvious reasons, were in a pretty bad shape after the Ma'afa. Okay? After or before Emancipation Proclamation or during, slavery, right? Just coming out of slavery, they were in very bad condition. And by very bad condition, I'm talking about sleeping on the floor, skipping showers, not cleaning their plates type bad condition, and so, or like buying pianos without knowing how to read, you know what I mean? Or paying for music lessons before knowing how to read, that kind of stuff. It was very bad, very backwards, very, very unsettling, to say the least, right? And what Booker T. Washington does is he positions himself in that environment of, I don't want to badmouth our ancestors, okay? But, like according to him, let's say, backwardness, right? And he gave them excellent, he tried to instill in them, or impart in them, an excellent character. He said, look, a few individuals can have this good character, then go out into the community and do good things for their people uplift the race, you know? And so who he's talking to, who he's directing, like these speeches are a collection. I probably should have gave the context. These are a collection of speeches he would give, like maybe like over the loudspeaker, I don't know, or to the congregation of students. He would read to them these speeches, and if they took it to heart, right, they were better people for it. You see what I'm saying? Because one of the things you got to realize, like, and that's the good thing about parenting, right? You realize that you are an influence. Okay? You are an inspiration. You are essentially the character model for kids. Okay? If you're, and I mean, I'm probably at fault for this, but if you have outbursts, no, I don't do that per se, but if you have, violent outbursts or what have you, right? Your kid is probably going to have violent outbursts because they're looking at you as a model of the character model. Okay? So whatever it is that you are, and you pick up on this with children because you will often see your worst traits or the traits that you don't really want to teach. You know what I mean? Like I can't remember what I had. Like I noticed my son doing something. I was like, why are you doing that, man? And all the things I do, why are you doing that one? But like, I can't think of one that I do, like a bad trait. Or maybe I don't want to share it. I don't know. But like, let's say if I didn't wash my hands after using the bathroom or something like that, right? You know what I mean? And of course I wash my hands, don't worry about it. But, if I didn't wash my hands, like my kid might not wash his hands. And here's the thing too. Here's what I mean by character too. So if I catch my son, right, not washing his hands, I'm on him. Like, why did you not wash your hands? You just went to the bathroom. Now, of course, I probably shouldn't be yelling at him or whatever. But what I'm pointing out is that you are that character model. And here's the thing. It's not just your parents. If you choose to be an active person in the lives of other people, right? And it's a choice on your part. But if you choose to be an active person, you have an impact on people. You have to remember, this is what I want you to remember. This goes down to science, okay? Inside of your head, going through your body, in fact, are these things that we call colloquially mirror neurons, okay? And I do talk about this a lot, but I think it's really critical that you understand that you have these neurons in your brain, okay, that trigger when you see somebody else, another human or another humanoid, doing something, okay? That when you see somebody else doing something, there is something in your brain that triggers and tells you to do the same thing, tells you to mirror them. So you as a human on a biological level mirror those you interact with. Now if you're a child, you're just developing your mirror neurons. You're just they're new. You don't know about them. Whatever. This phenomenon is playing inside of you to the point where you are mirroring your parents before you know anything about mirroring things, because you're mirroring everything, right? You could mirror the monkeys if you were around monkeys, but whatever. What I'm saying is that what Booker T. Washington's strategy, and your strategy too, of engaging people who can go into the communities and engage people, right? That is a foolproof strategy. Okay? That is a foolproof strategy. And the fact that we as black people in 2025 do not understand this strategy, that's where we run into problems. Okay? We mirror other people. Our matron says, remember, kids do what they see, not as they are told. Exactly. It's a fundamental biological principle that on the exception of the only like what I was fascinated on, because I had to write a paper on science. Like I had to write a scientific paper for a science writing class back in college. And, you know, although I did astrophysics, I decided to do a biology paper. And they kind of were like, why didn't you do a physical science paper? But I still did the biology paper because it was interesting. And one of the things that this biology paper I read was trying to say was, like the people with autism might not have as many mirror neurons, or their mirror neurons might not work as well. And so it's like like that's the exception. Like that, the exception to, who has mirror neurons activating constantly. And that's how we know about social cues and what to do, you know, societally and all that kind of stuff. Reading up on, you know, other people's inflections. This person just smiled. Why did they smile? Oh, we know why they smiled because our mirror neurons told us they smiled, that kind of stuff. And then the person who might be autistic might not necessarily pick up on that. You know, they might see you smile and think nothing of it because their mirror neurons didn't trigger. Because a lot of our social interactions rely on this scientific principle. But the point being, again, it's like what our matron says, kids or children or just even adults, everybody, okay? Everybody is trying to mirror the other people around them. And so what you have to do is you have to be something to mirror, and then you have to be somewhere to mirror. So you have to be something, and then you have to be somewhere. Okay? The first things first, be something. Okay? Be something to mirror, then be somewhere to mirror. I hope that's a little bit clear for everybody. So let's keep going. He says, you would be surprised to know how small a part of your own expenses you pay here. Now, again, the people are not paying, the students are not paying to be there because their parents just came out of slavery. So he did have white donors. I'm not sure how many black donors he had, but he did have donors. And so he does constantly remind people, hey, look, these school expenses, I'm paying them by getting funds from people. You know what I mean? And so the results is, you know, it has to be positive. And this is something that you have to remember too, because for some reason when I was younger, you know, the conscious community was like, Booker T. Washington is no good. And, you know, I think I mirrored that once, and I was actually dating a woman at the time who was like, why would you say that? And I was like, what? I actually have no idea. But, you know, eventually somebody did come out with a book pointing out that Booker T. Washington, you know, was like funding black projects and funding African projects and doing all sorts of stuff. But he had to keep it on the low because, look, he's asking white people for money for a bunch of black students. Why in the world would he publicly try to be pro-Africa, pro-black? You understand? And that's you know, and look, this is kind of like back to my predicament. You know, I probably should like post up my predicament, but this is back at my predicament where it's like I'm asking these people to return my money, and you guys are saying, oh, screw the money, just give them some more. You know, pay for their kids' school, and it's like you're not going to be able to get your money back. You know what I mean? And some people are like, hey man, that's not money. Hey, look, I'm going by the lessons that this brother showed me, right? A long time ago, these dudes these gangbangers tried to rob us, okay? And in trying to rob us, they said something along the lines of, I mean, they chased us down and, you know, blah, 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 blah. The point is this brother ran and I followed behind him. And when I asked him, why did you run? He said, look, if somebody wants money from me, they gotta work for it. You know what I mean? And the thing about this whole, I loaned some money to somebody, you know, the people are like, hey, just write it off. It ain't nothing. Look, it is nothing. But I worked for that money. You know what I'm saying? Like I worked for that money. That like I don't know how much. I know you guys make, you know, whatever, but like, you know, I put in several hours for that. You know what I'm saying? You know, I put in several hours at work for that. Like, what do you mean? Just write it off. That's $7 I ain't gonna get back. Now that's not to say that I never give away money. Of course I give away money, but I give away money to people who work for it. You know what I mean? If I'm in the grocery store and you help me to find the right pen, like that's what happened the other day. I had to go buy some pens for my son, and the lady behind the counter was trying to give me the big expensive pen. And the lady who was helping with the cart, with the shopping cart, she was like, "No, you can't have those pens, the colorful designs in school. The kids can't use those." So then after that, I said, "Okay." And when they were giving me the change for the pen, I gave the change to the lady. Well, I gave it to both of them, honestly. But the whole point is, but I gave more to the lady who was helping me. And the point is that, yeah, if you work for me, I don't mind. But this kind of money is big money for somebody who's not doing any work for you. You understand? But I'll tell you guys about this just to give you some context to what I'm going to be talking about too. It's like, so mid-December, my mother-in-law hit me up asking me to basically sponsor her son's job. He had to pay up front to drive in the Congo, and I don't understand the reasoning, but long story short, he borrowed $130 with the promise of paying me back mid-January. Well, the Congo is dangerous. Bro goes quiet, and well, mid-January passed. So I'm like, I never wanted to loan in the first place, and on top of that, there's no profit to loaning. I'm asking them to return money, but they're allegedly struggling to come up with it. Note privilege. Now, I want you guys to note that privilege. Folk can't just come up with $130 on the blue. If they could, they wouldn't ask me. You understand? But that's another thing too. It's like people are borrowing this kind of money. They can't make it. So me, the only reason why I even gave it, because I didn't want to, was because it was my mother-in-law. It was an in-law. But anyway, he goes, what gets me is the brother-in-law still hasn't called them, allegedly. Worse, his daughter is still here in Dar. And anyway, my point is this, though. My point is that, basically, you gotta, and you guys can read, but my thing is that there's a big lesson. There's big lessons, value of money and all that kind of stuff. But what I'm going back to Booker T is to say is that, if you were to do that kind of stuff, pay for other people's expenses, right? You gotta realize that you gotta be grateful. You gotta be grateful. But also, you gotta put into context that a lot of people are not going to sponsor people who aren't grateful. And so what Booker T. Washington is doing is he's trying to help Africa. And yet he's asking for money from other people. And the thing is this: if you have the money to help Africa, why the hell are you asking me for money? That would be my thoughts if I were a donor. So he said, you'll be surprised at how much small part of your own expenses you pay here. You pay but little, and by reason of that fact, it follows that as trustees of the funds which are given to this institution, we have no right to keep an individual here who we do not think is going to be able to go out and help somebody else. We have no right to keep a student here who we do not think is strong enough to go out and be of assistance to somebody else. We are here for the purpose of educating you that you may become strong, intelligent, and helpful. Right? And that's another thing. It's like, because, sometimes, I talk to a bunch of people, right? But what I want you to understand is that you, as an African, right? You are a teacher. Like I said, the mirror neurons, all that kind of stuff. You are a teacher. You are a model. Okay? You are a teacher. You are a model. So, when you engage people, engage them to the point where you say to yourself, can this person become strong, intelligent, and helpful? And that's what really kind of bugs me about this whole situation, is because the girl who's going to miss school, right, seems like she could be strong, intelligent, and helpful. But that's just the way it is. You know what I mean? No Tupac. But that's just the way it is. Anyway. All right. If you are paying the cost of your board here and for your tuition and fuel and lights, then we should have a different problem. But so long as it is true that you pay so small a proportion of your expenses as you do, we must keep in view the fact that we have no right to keep a student here, no matter how much we may sympathize with him or her, unless that student is going to be able to do somebody else some good. Every young man and every young woman should feel that he or she is here on trust, and that every day here is a sacred day, that is a day that belongs to the race. Our graduates and the majority of the students that have gone out from here have ever had an unselfish spirit and have been willing to go out and work at first for small salaries and in uncomfortable places where in large degree conditions have been discouraging and desolate. We believe that kind of spirit will continue to exist in this institution, that we shall continue to have students who will go out from here to make other persons strong and useful. Do you see that? He says, look, we are building, a majority of our students have went out with an unselfish spirit, willing to work for small salaries in uncomfortable places. You know, basically, African Americans used to be Mexicans. No, I'm joking. No, but for real, y'all ever heard that joke where they're like, yo, man, you look like a Mexican, right? Now, who was that? Oh, I think it was the Boondocks, where the guy said, he was making, his father was making fun of Ruckus, and he goes, you working hard and you working 10 jobs or something, how you doing turn to a Mexican? But that's what it was. Now obviously not like Uncle Ruckus, but what I'm trying to point out is that, this is not inherent to any people. What you got to remember is that all of this is something that you learn, and here's the thing that really, really gets me, okay? If you are a girl and you don't have educational prospects, you don't have job prospects, do you know what kind of prospects you have? I want you guys to understand that in this country I'm in Tanzania, for you that don't know, right? In this country, and of course it's not universal, really, but in this country, in Tanzania, prostitution is the norm. Okay? When parents fail girls become prostitutes. And it's normal. It's normal. My wife tells me that when she was at her old job, the y'all know, whoosh, right? And you just, as soon as you say that, you start hearing footsteps. Anyway, but basically, long story short, and this is something that everybody knows, but you could be working somewhere, and then a man or your employer will say, hey, look, if you want to review this contract, if you want to renew this contract, you know what I mean? And this is just something that generally, like, I remember I had a friend in Ghana told me the same thing. She's like, yeah, my professor, he was trying to get a piece of this. And of course, if you guys know the president of Grenada, he was like, we got to outlaw how men in power, positions of power, are asking for sexual favors, for women to get promotions. And that's just the norm. It's the norm. Now, all the women I mean, most of the women I speak to say they refused, and I believe them. But here's the thing: some women ain't refusing. You understand? And the thing is this: the women who do refuse, half the time you find them they're broke. And that's just the way the world spins. And again, those are the employed women, the graduates, the ones who actually completed the school system. So just think of the women who didn't. Think of the women who don't. I want you to understand what I'm saying, right? But that's life. Now, what Booker T. Washington is saying is, hey, look, we want you to have an unselfish spirit, and we want you to be able to work for small salaries in uncomfortable places. Because these jobs, although they don't pay well, and although they're not really up to par, up to standard, all that kind of stuff, this is how you advance as a people. You understand? Like I said, my wife has built a restaurant. Well, I paid for her to own a restaurant. Man, restaurant's hard, bro. You know, if she gotta wake up early. Well, she don't have to, but when she goes to work, right? Because she sometimes doesn't go to work. But that's just the privilege of marrying me. But like, let's say if I wasn't in the picture, let's say if she had to rely on this job, point blank, period, right? She wakes up early, or for instance, I'll put it this way: her sister works with her, right? So her sister wakes up early, like we talking 6 a.m., 7 a.m., whatever, to go to the market and buy all the ingredients, okay? While everybody else is trying to buy the ingredients before her, because if you show up a little late to the market, you know, there's no ingredients for you to sell, right? So she wakes up early, then they start cooking early, you know, because the cooking process, I don't understand it, but maybe it takes like 2 hours. I don't know. Because you got to cook a couple, you know, let's say 4 kilograms of rice, 4 kilograms of this, you know, ugali, whatever, right? That's fine. Then you have to wait to sell it. And then you have to buy some more ingredients, maybe somewhere else. I don't know. I don't understand how you can buy the ingredients twice, but in order to cook again, if you, so on and so forth, you know, but you need enough profit in order to, you need some more money in order to buy some more ingredients. So you need to sell this many plates, so on and so forth. A lot goes into it, but basically you will be there at your job working sun up to sundown. Okay? Working sun up to sundown. And you don't have, and when you're starting out, you don't have that many customers. You're trying to, and your profit margin is small because you're trying to be at a competitive pricing. Okay, competitive pricing means profit margin is smaller, right? And then of course you have to pay your employees and all that kind of stuff. You basically walking away with very minimal money while you're working every day for hours. Now, why am I saying all this? Right? Because that's what the Chinese man does in your neighborhood. That's what the Chinese, like if you in America, you know about the Chinese restaurants, that's what they're doing in your neighborhood. They're waking up early, you know? Now, of course, you know, actually, I don't know remember the time they open, but maybe they open at 10 a.m., right? Now, but if they open at 10 a.m., they probably, now we know the Chinese don't clean. I shouldn't say that because, you know, they about to run on the planet. But we know that not all these Chinese Americans are cleaning up their kitchen, but maybe they are. Maybe they clean the kitchen before. Maybe they buying the meat, they buying the produce or whatever. They signing the delivery papers, all that kind of stuff. Getting ready for that 10 a.m. opening when they know you're gonna be trying to get into that lunch special. Okay, and then they're open until 12 o'clock at night or whatever, or 10 p.m. at night because we know you wanted to get some Wendy's. You couldn't find, you know, Wendy's was closed, so you came down to the Chinese shop. But they are there, not working shifts. They are there every day, 7 days a week. And of course, we tell ourselves, oh, well, you know, they're using our money to pay for our college. Yes, absolutely. They're using the money that you went for General Tso's chicken to pay for college. Absolutely. But technically, it's a small salary for how many hours they're working. And I'm not trying to glaze them. I'm not doing that. What I'm trying to tell you is that the restaurant business is serious business. It's serious business. And granted, they have the advantage of whatever gang helping them, obviously. But I want you to understand that a lot of people, that when I say that what can build you up as a people, right? It is that going out and working, even for small salaries, even in uncomfortable places. And the reality is this, that a lot of us don't have the character for that. Do not have the character for that. Some of us are telling ourselves, hey man, look, I'm not going to get anything less than this. And they better not treat me any type of way. Okay, fine. But you're going to have an unemployment problem. And that's what Booker T. Washington just wanted to keep it real. I'll just put it that way. So let me just look at the comments. Yeah, our matron says prostitution prospect. That's the reality, and that's what kind of makes me sad, you know, because like what else do you think? What else is gonna happen? You know, You can't find a job. Like money's already hard to find in this country. But it's easy if you open your legs. Easy. You understand? All you gotta do is open your legs and then you got $20. And I know you saying to yourself, $20, that's it? Yeah, $20, that's it. $20, that's it. You understand? I know some of y'all saying to yourself, wait, now hold up a second. You talking about $20? Yeah, 20 damn bucks. That's how like I just told you, $130, they can't find $130. Why you can't find $130 in a month? You know what I'm saying? Some brother told me not to, talk about this stuff. But yeah, other person was like, hey man, I'll pay you, let me get $20 and I'll pay you in 2 months. And what the fuck you mean you're gonna pay me in 2 months, $200? Like you supposed to be able to pay me tomorrow, $200. You know what I'm saying? Like you're supposed to be able to pay me tomorrow. I borrow you $200. You pay me tomorrow, man. What the fuck you talking about? 2 months. But that's the way this country is, or the world is. Money's not easy. People are. I told this sister. I said, hey, look. Like I said, you gotta be a model. So I told her, look. You want the problem with your business is that you didn't hire, because you guys remember her. She was a tailor or something like that, right? So I said you got to hire an assistant tailor to help you with this when you blah 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 blah. And I said, but the thing is this, you got to start paying them less. So she said, okay, I'll start paying this guy, and she pays the guy $2 a day, and that's good money here. $2 a day is good damn money. A day is good money. You understand? You're not hearing me, man. So again, if $2 or $3 a day is good money, of course, if you open your legs for $20, you do that once and you set for the week. You set for half a month, and that's the real calculus here. And I'm not gonna blame the white man. I'm just gonna tell you that's the real calculus here. What you could earn a month's you sleep with a guy twice and earn a month, or if you sleep with a rich guy, he's probably gonna give a little bit more money, right? Like $70, and you set for the freaking month. Anyway, now no individual that we shall continue to have students who no individual can help another individual unless he himself is strong. You hear that? You notice that the curriculum here goes along in 3 directions, along the line of labor, of academic training, and of moral and religious training. We expect those who are here to keep strong and to make themselves efficient in these 3 directions, in each of which you are to learn to be leaders. That's leaders in labor, leaders in academic training, and leaders in moral and religious training. Now, y'all already know I'm going to talk stuff about religion, but you get it though. It makes sense though, right? So he says some people are able to do a thing when they are directed to do it, but people of that kind are not worth very much. He says if you have to tell people to do something, they're not worth that much. There are people in the world who never think, who never map out anything for themselves, who have to wait to be told what to do. People of that kind are not worth anything. They really ought to pay rent for the air they breathe, for they only vitiate it. Now, we do not want such people as those here. We want people who are going to think, people who are going to prepare themselves. I noticed an incident this morning. Did you ever hear that side door creak on its hinges before this morning? The janitor ought to have noticed that creaking and put some oil on the hinges without waiting to be told to do it. Then again, this morning I noticed that after it had been raining hard for 24 hours, when it was wet and muddy, no provision had been made to protect the hogs at the sty, and they were completely covered with mud. Now the person who had charge of the sty should not have waited for someone to tell him to go down there and put some straw in for bedding and put boards over the sty to keep the animals dry. No one in charge of the hogs ought to have waited to be told to do a thing like that. The kind of person we want here are those who are not going to wait for you to tell them to do such things, but who will think of them for themselves and do them. If we cannot turn out a man here who is capable of taking care of a pigsty, how can we expect him to take care of affairs of state? Again, you see Booker T. Washington is not playing. He's saying, look, we got a janitor here, okay? And even though the door is whatever, you'll never hear it creaky because this dude, the janitor one time heard it was creaking, put some oil on it, you never heard it again. Okay? However, sometimes he puts people to be in charge of the hogs, and the hogs get muddy when it rains. Why this dude ain't protected? Because he was waiting for somebody to tell him. And and that's what kind of breaks my heart a little bit. It breaks my heart a little bit because I'm thinking about my son right now, and I'm saying to myself, my son is kind of, sometimes he's on that, you gotta tell him, you know what I mean? But some of the stuff he just doesn't know, like basic manners, And by basic manners, I mean like you gotta tell him, hey man, make sure you say good morning, But of course, I started doing that, and I'm telling you, man, this boy. Now all of a sudden I'll be laying down, I'll be in my office, just chilling, and he just knocks on the door, good morning or good afternoon. You know what I mean? Comes to me, sees me and says good afternoon. Nobody told him to do that. Good. You understand? But that's the kind of thing that you want from, or like for instance, when he's on YouTube, he might actually put on something educational. He don't do it all the time, but the other boy don't. But the whole thing is that you want that in a person, that own self-initiative, that own self-drive. And, but again, I want you to understand, nobody's born that way. So yes, there are people who are worthless, but they were made worthless. No, in fact, a lot of people are born worthless. And you only become valuable. Okay, you are made valuable. And sometimes you have to make yourself valuable. That's the big lesson I want from everybody to realize, that most people don't have value. Because they don't have that drive. They don't have that initiative. You know what I mean? They hear a creaking door and they just think it's a creaking door. Like sometimes, like for instance, here's something that happened. If you kill a roach in my house, for whatever reason, right? A roach, you could leave it on the floor and it will be there. Unless my wife cleans the room, but sometimes, like I said, she might be busy. But yeah, like the kids will just walk over this roach all day, every day. Now, I'm not saying you want kids to touch roaches, no. But like legit. You know what I mean? But here's here's where you as a father come into picture. Like I go into the dining room. So the boys eat in the dining room, I eat in my office. I go into their dining room, and of course I should eat with them, but I don't. But I go into the dining room, and sometimes they just leave food on the floor. They leave, the table is dirty, the so on and so forth. And look, that's okay. And I asked the younger boy, I said, when you were at your grandmother's house, do you clean? He's like, no. But here's the thing. This is our first year living together. Okay? But in 5 years, what do you think is going to happen? You think these boys are going to still be messy? Or you think if I'm on their ass about clean up now, in 5 years, what do you think is going to happen? Already, the younger boy, he saw his grandmother, not wash her hands. And he was like, ew, you ain't washing your hands? That's nasty. Nah, I never told him to say that. But I want you to understand that you are imparting your character. Okay? And of course, I'm not bad-mouthing anybody, so it's not your whole character. But when you start telling these boys, hey, look, this is how you clean. Hey, pick up this glass. Let's wipe off this glass. Let's concoct this, this cleaning solution. Pour on the cleaning solution and clean this with the paper towel. You're teaching these kids. Okay? You're making people into better people. And that's the thing I want you to understand too. Let me just check the comments, see if no comments. But I appreciate everybody who's here. I see I got 4 likes. Appreciate y'all. That's really powerful for me, right? So yeah, and that's the thing. It's like even if I'm looking at weaknesses in myself, and that's the thing about being a parent. Why it's best to be a parent, because if I see the weaknesses in my son. Like right now, he's 9. But if I watch the weaknesses of my son, I'm thinking to myself, well, these weaknesses are not going to be there at 14. You understand? Like with children, you can set up, with your children, you can set up a 5-year plan. You understand? You can set up a 5-year plan. You can set up a 10-year plan with your children. You know, we talk about we need a 5-year plan, 10-year plan for what we're going to do for the nation. Yeah, absolutely. But with children, you could set up a 5-year plan, 10-year plan. Easy. Because you watching them. You understand? You go into their living room, their dining room. You see what kind of messes they leave. And you can clean it up. I know, you could either clean it up or you could be on their ass. Be like, look, you got to clean this. Because you know that when you tell them, look, you got to clean this. Like, I watch them watch me direct them. You understand? My wife was telling me the other day that the younger boy was, he would just mop the floor. After I showed him how to mop the floor, he would just mop the floor regularly. That's the kind of stuff that you want to teach. You understand? That's the kind of character you want to build. Where people say to themselves, look, if I make a mess, I clean my mess. You know, sometimes I put them on to watch, science, right? And they're watching the science and it's boring. So they start playing with toys and they start playing with pillows and they start moving stuff around. And then I come around and I say, look, don't play with them pillows. You understand? And they're not going to get it the first day, the first month, the first year. But again, you are farsighted. You see what I'm saying? You are farsighted when it comes to your children. So in 5 years, they're gonna be, well, I don't play with toys while I'm watching science. You understand? This is how you're supposed to be. And again, it's not just with your children, it's with everybody. You understand? You have to be this way with everybody. You have to look at things from a position of, well, in 5 years, because that's what happens with me and my wife sometimes. You know? Sometimes I say to myself, sometimes she might say, oh, you kind of critical. And I say, look, I don't say it this way. Of course, she's there pacing outside, so I gotta watch what I say. But what I'm telling you is this: if I'm critical because I understand. Hey, look, I'm trying to be here in 5 years. So how can I be good in half a decade? You understand? Because if this is going on today, do I want this to go on for half a decade? You understand? You have to look at life from the perspective of, look, I'm going to be, there is a way that things should be. And the only way things get to where they should be is if people like us make it so. No Star Trek. No Picard, right? Anyway, let's see what the comments are like. No comments, but again, I appreciate the 4 likes. You know what I mean? It's not much, but it's much. You know what I mean? It's not much, but it's a lot. Like, I want people to understand that, we as people make choices. And for 4 people to make the choice to say, you know what? I like what you're doing. Right? I have to appreciate that. You understand? Because very easily 0 people could make that choice. But the fact that 4 people did, I have to appreciate that. We have to look at each other from that paradigm or from the reality that we all have choices. Okay? Nobody's forcing you to be here, but you're here. And so for that, I have to be grateful. But anyway, she says, then again, some of you are expected to take care of roads. I should have liked to have seen boys this morning so much interested in working on the roads that they would have put sawdust from the building to the gate. I should have liked to see them put down some boards and arrange for the water to drain off. We want such fellows as those here. The ones we want are the ones who are going to think of such things as these without being told. That is the only kind of people worth having. Those who have to wait to have somebody else put ideas into their head are not worth much of anything. And to be plain with you, we cannot have such people here. We want you to be thinkers, to be leaders. You know? I want people to understand what he just said. Because when I told you guys about, hey, look, this is what, this is how I run my house. This is how I run my house. Okay? Like the other day, here's what I picked up on. People could walk into this house, not just the kids, but, the kids, the sister-in-law, anybody. Walk into this house and chill in the living room, go into the kids' bedroom, do all that kind of stuff, not even let me know they're here. The kids could come home from school, put their bags away, start playing video games, start watching TV, start doing anything. Not even say, hey, let me go check on the old man. You understand? And I said to myself, look, I don't really care. But I said to myself, look, in 5 years, is that the kind of life that I want? Where where people just walk into the house, don't got to say nothing, don't got to come greet me. Nowadays, I tell these boys, I say, look, when you come into the house, if I didn't open the gate for you, when you come into this house, you knock on my door and you tell me good afternoon. And if you don't do that, you going to get punished. And sure enough, you understand? Sure enough. They now all of a sudden, let me greet this dude. And they don't understand the concept. Because, if y'all don't know, some of y'all know, because some of y'all is African American, where I got that from. I got that from African Americans. But contrary to popular opinion, African American culture ain't, universal. You know what I'm saying? But what I want you to understand is that they might not understand the whole, let me greet this person when I come into his house. Right? But I teach it. I enforce it. And it builds their character. You know what I mean? The other day, the younger boy was like, I don't know, he just didn't want to greet me. And yeah, he got in trouble for that. And now all of a sudden, he's, the first one. Good morning, Mr. Oni. You know what I'm saying? I want y'all to understand that, man. But you want people to do things without being told, but you gotta give some leeway. And this actually goes back to Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey says you can't hold people accountable for things you haven't taught them. You can't hold people accountable for things you haven't taught them. So what you have to do is you have to constantly be in a process of teaching people. Look, I want you, and of course, constantly be in the process of teaching yourself. I want you, because I'm thinking about it now, you gotta read those 4 books. This character building, Ptah Htp, Marcus Garvey's Message to the People, and Uangalifu. You gotta read those 4 books. Matter of fact, I want you to read Uangalifu twice. Okay? You read Uangalifu first, then you read Ptah Htp, obviously. Then you read, I don't know, Marcus Garvey. Then you read Booker T. And then you read Uangalifu again. Okay? You gotta read these books. You're not gonna get unless you were lucky. Unless you were lucky, you're not gonna get it. Okay? Unless you were very lucky, you're not gonna get it. We cannot have such people here, blah blah blah. We want you to, all right, so let's see this one. We want you to be thinkers, to be leaders. Okay? So yesterday and the night before, let me check the comments again. No comments. Yesterday and the night before, I traveled on the Mobile and Ohio Railroad from St. Louis to Montgomery. Yeah, I said Louis. And there was a young man on the same train who was not more than 20 years old, I believe, who recently had been appointed a special freight agent of the road. All his conversation was about freight. He talked freight to me and to everybody else. He would ask this man and that man if they had any freight, And if so, he would tell them that they must have it shipped over to Mobile and Ohio Railroad. Now that man will be a general freight agent of the road someday. He may be president of the road, but suppose he had sat down and gone to sleep and had waited for someone to come to him to inquire the best way to ship freight. Do you suppose he would ever have secured any freight to ship? Again, you gotta be like you see, the guy he met was committed. Okay, he was engaged. Like say what you will, because I like to video game, and I waste a lot of time, honestly. But I'm a game designer. I'm a game programmer. You understand? So of course I do. The thing is this, that if you were a video game designer and you didn't play video games, you know what I'm saying? you're gonna make Pong. And it's like, okay, Pong is a good game 30 years ago. You know what I'm saying? And that's the trouble. And I'll actually put it on me. Cause see, I write books. You might be knowing me as a book writer. I write books, but I don't really be reading them like that. And that's where I messed up. Because if I were reading books, I would have known you guys don't read the books that I write. You know what I mean? Like if I were reading books, I would know that you guys don't read the books that I write. Like one of the best books I read that was a popular read was Sister Soldier's The Coldest Winter Ever. My book is nothing like Sister Soldier's The Coldest Winter Ever. Okay? And of course Sister Soldier's more like Zane and them junk. But the whole point is that there is a demographic for books. There is a market for books. And I'm not doing it. Now, of course, these are the kind of books that I like. So the books that I read, your Wealth of Nations, your character building, your message to the people, your Ptah Htp. Those are the books that I read. So of course I wrote a book like that. But most people ain't reading those books. You understand? They're not selling like that. So it was my bad. It was my mistake. But of course, I still think the book is great. And if you are in the habit of reading good books, you go check out these books. You check out Uangalifu because, again, that's what I did. But anyway, let's keep going. He says, begin to think, if you cannot learn to think, why you will be of no use to somebody. No, begin to think. If you cannot learn to think, why you will be of no use to yourself or anybody else. Every once in a while, about every 3 months, we have to go through the process of weeding out among the students. We are going to make that weeding out process more strict this year than ever before. We are compelled to get rid of every student here who is weak in mind, weak in moral, or weak in industry. We cannot keep a student here unless he counts for one. You must count one yourself. You eat for one, you drink for one, and you sleep for one. And so you will have to count for one if you are going to stay here. So again, this is again what you want to do with your children or what you want to do with people. If you see somebody is weak in mind, weak in morals, or weak in industry, if they're a child, bring them up. Point out to them, hey, look, you're weak in mind. Point out to them, hey, look, your morals are whack. You're lying too damn much. Point out to them, weak in industry. The place is too damn messy. Clean up. Right? But of course, if you find an adult who is weak in mind, weak in morals, or weak in industry, and you engage them and you figure, look, they're not changing, get rid of them. Weed them out. Because if you don't do that, guess what? You're going to get screwed over. Again, I'm in Africa. And of course, I have to, I don't know the language, so it's a little bit tougher to be directly involved in business. But, I have my wife involved in business. And a lot of the candidates that she has for workers are weak. That's just what it is. A lot of people in Africa, right? Or just generally speaking, but a lot of people that you come across are going to be weak. They're going to be weak in mind, weak in morals, and weak in industry. And you just have to come to terms with that. And see, a lot of us don't get that because we are strong in mind. And we are strong in morals, and we're strong in industry. I don't work every day. I'll be honest with you guys. I don't work every day. But when I do work, and yes, I do sometimes work for this white boy. When I do work, this white boy is like, damn, you good. Okay? He's like, damn, you good. Cause see, the job I work, you could see the daily statistics. You could see how efficient certain teams are, and I'm a team leader. So you can see how efficient certain teams are. And if you look at my team and you compare it to the white boys, the other white boys team, my team is the most efficient. And I'll be honest with you, sometimes when I'm working, I'm doing other shit. Okay? Sometimes I'm playing a video game, but I'm still more efficient than this white boy when I'm doing what I gotta be. Now of course I'm not proud of that. I'm not saying, I'm making this white boy money. I'm not proud of that. But what I want you to understand is that you are just like that. You're strong in mind. You're strong in morals and you're strong in industry. So, but you got to recognize that you are the exception, not the rule. Okay? And because you are the exception, you have to go out and be the example. But also, bear in mind that some people are just not going to be on your level. And this kind of makes me sad too, because I'm reading this and I'm like, do I know any people who are weak in mind, weak in morals, and weak in industry? And have I not gotten rid of them? That's what I'm thinking. You understand? But of course, again, you can bring people up. But it is what it is. Let's keep going. And actually, I'm pointing out this though. In Uangalifu, we talk about this. We say, look, there are 10 attributes. 10 qualities to a human being. Strength, physique, dexterity, agility, intelligence, wisdom, discipline, charm, repute, and fortune. Okay? 10 qualities. What you want to do is on a daily basis exercise in these 10 qualities. And that's the thing that I kind of stopped doing with my family. I don't know why I stopped doing it, but I stopped doing it. I shouldn't have stopped. I should have kept going. But when you work out in these 10 qualities, especially your intelligence and your wisdom and your charm, when you work out in these 10 qualities, you can advance in as a people. Okay? But a lot of us don't do that. Let's keep going. But let me first check the comments quickly. No comments. He says, I want you to go out into the world not to have an easy time, but to make sacrifices and to help somebody else. There are those who need your help and your sacrifice. You may be called upon to sacrifice a great deal. You may have to work for small salaries. You may have to teach school in uncomfortable buildings. You may have to work in desolate places, and the surroundings may be in every way discouraging. And when I speak of your going out into life, I do not confine you to the schoolroom. I believe that those who go out and become farmers and leaders in other directions, as well as teachers, are to succeed. Right? I want you guys to like. This is the thing too. I want you to realize. So the other day, there's this. I told you guys I like to buy soda for these kids. I don't know why, but I do. Right? There's this lady down the street from me, right, who sells soda, and I want you guys to understand. These people will sit outside in front of their shops all day, 12 hours a day, sitting down by themselves. No TV, no YouTube, no Instagram, no internet. Just sitting out, waiting for somebody to come around their shop and buy their inventory. And of course, I decided, look, let me ask this lady to let me help this lady out. You understand? So I said, baby, you could deliver some soda, right? And what does she do? She walks with these 2 heavy-ass sodas down to where I'm at in order to just get I want to say 80 cents extra. You understand? But that's the real life. It's not easy. People are not living an easy time. This is why I encourage people to leave America, because one of the things that you get in America is actually the opposite of this. You're not in the world, really. you are having an easy time. You don't have to make sacrifices, and you're discouraged from helping somebody else. You understand? They don't want you helping each other, and so you live your life pretty. Like I see my father. My father, well-to-do, not bro sitting there. I don't know what happened, but I think he retired already. He's sitting on money. He buying drones and all that kind of stuff. His life easy. Okay? And I guess I don't know anybody else's life really, so I can't really say one way or the other. But what I'm saying is that, like, even for me, when I was in America, life was easy. You understand? Now, granted, I had an easier life than most people, but still, life was easy. Right? And the way how life is easy is this. I want to point this out to you guys. You could just go and ask this white man with his complete economy for a job. You just go and ask him for a job. Now, obviously, you complain, oh, man, we the first fired and the last hired. Yeah, absolutely. Why are they hiring you? You know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't their people. But they hiring you. Now, people in Africa don't have that luxury. Don't nobody, they're not the first fired, the last hired among white folk. White folk ain't hiring nobody. You know? Except for coons and sellouts. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, he says the most interesting thing, and that's my last paragraph, says the most interesting thing connected with this institution is the magnificent record that us graduates are making. As the institution grows larger, we do not want to lose the spirit of self-sacrifice, the spirit of usefulness, which the graduates and the students who have gone out from here have shown. We want you to help somebody else. We want you not to think of yourselves alone. The more you do to make somebody else happy, the more happiness will you receive in turn. If you want to be happy, if you want to live a contented life, if you want to live a life of genuine pleasure, do something for somebody else. When you feel unhappy, disagreeable, and miserable, go to someone else who is miserable and do that person an act of kindness, and you'll find that you'll be made happy. The miserable person in this world are the ones whose hearts are narrow and hard. The happy ones are those who have great big hearts. Such persons are always happy. So, of course, Booker T. Washington is sharing how he gets happy and how happiness can come to you. So we're going to finish, I guess, but our matron wrote something, so we got to read it. And she says, there is no sense of sacrifice in the African American community anymore. We collectively bought into the idea of rugged individualism. We need to see ourselves as a group. Yup. And that's the thing. It's like, I'm telling you guys, this is something I want to share, in fact. White people are crazy. Okay? White people in America are crazy. Now, here's the other part of it. I want to say this. I want to make this clear to a lot of people. All right? The white man is not trying to make you gay. Okay? The white man is gay, and a lot of black folk are trying to be white. That's what it is. And so, just the same way, the white person is not trying to make you crazy. The white person is crazy, and a lot of black folk are trying to be white. Now, when we talk about this rugged individualism and all that kind of stuff, what we got to remember is this. When you are in the United States of America, you are going to run into some problems. I was talking to a brother earlier, and I said to myself, look, listen to this, guys. I want you guys to hear this. Who sounds like this? Money is everything. Cash rules everything around me, right? But money is everything. You got to make money. You got to get money. It's money, 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 money. Who sounds like that? I know a lot of people are going to say, well, not really a lot of people because there's only 2 people listening, right? But what I want to say is this. The person who sounds like that, right? We all heard this before. And we heard it from a particular type of individual. And you know who that individual is? Inmates. Prisoners. People who were recently incarcerated. Believe things in a certain... Like they believe that cash is king. Okay? Like a lot of us might say, oh yeah, a lot of black people think that way. Or a lot of us might think, oh yeah, some ghetto people think that way. No. It's the prisoners. The inmates. Believe cash is everything. Why? Because they are put into an environment where cash is everything. Now, what does that tell you? Right? If you agree with me, I agree with me, everybody else you talk to, they say, yeah, you know what? I know some prisoners and they talk like that. What does that tell you? That tells you that a lot of how we think is what I would use the word ecological. Okay? Ecological meaning the environment shapes how you think. Okay? Because there's no reason for the inmates I know in New York sounding like the inmates you know in Michigan. Right? Or the inmates you know in Texas. Right? But because it's ecological, that means that the same environment, the same environmental conditions can produce the same kind of thought. What that tells you is this. The madness, the craziness that you see in America among these white folk or among the black folk is a plague. Now, I shouldn't say this because, it might come back to me. Right? But I want y'all to understand, because I'm in Africa right now. When I'm in America, I am batshit crazy. I'm looking at every damn news story like, oh my gosh, they're gonna nuke us. We're gonna nuke. Oh man, am I gonna survive until next week? I'm gonna die soon. I'm gonna survive. That's me every week when I'm in America. It don't make no damn sense, but I'll be writing family members. Oh man, I'm gonna miss you. Oh man, blah blah blah. Why? Because America's is crazy inducing. Okay? And I want to just take this further, right? Like again, because I know white folk privately. Okay, I just started knowing some white folk again. Okay, so I know them privately. What I can tell you is that these people are crazy in private. Like I said, I like video games. I like whatever. They will play video games, not even video games. They'll play tabletop games. I don't want to give too much information. But what I'm saying is that they would play, your Dungeons and Dragons, basically, right? Your Pathfinder, that kind of stuff. They will play that religiously. Okay? If they could every day, play some tabletop RPG and just talk about some imaginary life all day, every day. Okay? And it's just crazy. It's crazy. I want people to understand that. I really do. I really want you to understand that white folk have a bit of insanity, and black folk are following behind with it. So just to finish, because I know we ain't got all day. Like what our mention is saying about we need to see ourselves as a group. I want people to understand, if you are in this American environment, you're going to start thinking like an American. Okay? Because just like if you're in a prison, you're going to start thinking like an inmate. Okay? You're going to start thinking like an inmate. You might think, oh, well, look, I got some mental resistance. Absolutely. You can have some mental resistance, but do not be surprised if everybody around you in the prison thinks like a damn inmate. Or even don't be surprised if most of the people in the prison think like a damn inmate. Okay? And you might say, well, what is thinking like an inmate? They are inmates. No, there is a different thought process. What I'm telling you right now is that I might be me. But if you put me in a prison, maybe I'll remain me because I'm an old mofo. Okay? But if you put me in a prison, okay? Nah, pause. I was about to say something, but I ain't gonna say that. Like, I'm just thinking about what y'all do in prison. I ain't gonna do that shit. But still, you know what I'm saying? Ari just says, white people make real world decisions based on imaginary games they play. Yeah. And that's the thing too. It's like, because imagination is very important. You understand? Imagination is very, very important. Okay? It's one of the most important things, one of the most important tools you have. And here's the thing you got to remember about America. Who is shaping the imagination? Who's shaping the imagination? So if white folk, I was telling this brother earlier, in fact, because I used to do sociology in college, right? I went to the white boys' college. So they didn't tailor it for me. It was straight up what they were telling each other, right? They gave me this little book for sociology. I bought the textbook, all that kind of stuff. We didn't have to read it, but I think the teacher just recommended it, blah, 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 blah. So I read one of the articles. The article was pointing out in the 90s, what were the TV habits of black people? What were the TV habits of white people? So they list the top 100 shows of white people, white Americans, and the top 100 shows of black Americans. Top 100 shows of white America was, of course, American Idol, 90210, whatever it is, right? You know what I mean? Like Survivor, whatever, right? Then the top 100 shows of black people was American Idol, Survivor, so on and so forth, plus UPN. You know what I'm saying? Like Underpaid Negroes. You know what I'm talking about. Martin, My Family and Me, or My Wife and Me. I don't know what the shows was, man. Living Color, all that kind of stuff. But what the research papers decided to conclude, they said, well, that just means black people are culturally parasitic. They're cultural parasites. Because they watch what we watch. We don't watch what they watch. Okay? We watch our culture, they watch our culture, and then they have their culture on top of ours. Now, of course, black people don't want to hear that. You know what I mean? We look at it different. We look at it, the white folk is cultural parasites. Absolutely. I get that. But what I want you to understand is white folk, what we're watching, because that UPN that we were watching, right, the Martin and all that stuff, that was made by white people for us. So what we were watching was whatever white people were watching, and then we were watching also on top of that what white people made for us to watch. Now, I'm not going to say, I don't know what the study would say about Chinese Americans. But what I can tell you is that Chinese people do not watch the same thing as white Americans. You put the top 100 shows in China and the top 100 shows in America and white America, and they're different programs. And of course, if you go to China, if you guys ever watch a Chinese movie, they're good. But they ain't nothing like things you've ever seen. They big up China, they big up the Chinese, they big up so on and so forth. That's the difference. You understand? I know this sister was telling me she liked Korean movies, right? The Koreans have a different type of movie too. A different type of film, TV industry too. Where they big up Korea. Even Korean books big up Korea. And I want you to understand that if you are only looking at the American culture, if you're watching Friends right before you watch Martin, and you watching American Idol right before you watch BET, 106 in Park, whatever, you might say to yourself, well, I'm black because I watch 106 in Park and I watch Martin, but you watching Friends and Seinfeld too. And by watching Friends and Seinfeld along with your 106 in Park and the fact that 106 in Park is done by these white folk, the fact that you're doing all that, yeah, you are going to like the way you're thinking is going to be jacked up. You are going to have that cognitive dissonance. You are going to have that disassociation. You are going to have mental illness. You gotta. You understand? You gotta. If you are adopting the culture of another people, and then another people are also giving you a subculture of with all this propaganda against you, yeah, you're gonna get screwed over. So our matron, and I guess we'll finish here, but our matron says European media will destroy your African mind because it's designed to make you hate. Oh yeah, absolutely. That's the thing you're gonna pick up on. That's the reason why sometimes I'll be listening to black folk, and I mean the amount of times we call ourselves the N-word. Or even this, I'll tell you guys this. I came across a video. I don't remember what the video was. I might have to look it up. But I came across this video, and as I'm looking at it, yeah, matter of fact, let me see. I probably can't play it low-key because, copyrights and all that stuff. But there's this video. Let me see if I can find it because I had it. The greatest film never made, right? And so there's this other person has this book, this film, this video called "The Greatest Film Never Made," and I want you guys to look at it, because I'm looking at myself, saying to myself, and so I'll put it in the chat. But you look at that video, and you say to yourself, if black folk did this, right? If black folk did this, we'd be talking shit about black people. So in the video, what happens is this white boy director decides to make a film adaptation of the movie Doom. Okay? They decide to make a film adaptation of the movie Doom. And so they get $15 million. Okay? So with $2 million, they come up with the concept art. They have dreams of employing, big Hollywood actors to play different roles, and having a music soundtrack by, I think it was Bon Jovi or something like that, right? Big white celebrity, right? The film is never made. And somehow, mysteriously, $5 million disappears, right? And it's just white boys. And here's the thing, so somebody put up $15 million, or some group of people put up $15 million, and nothing comes of it, and somebody walks away with $5 million in the bank. What I'm saying is this: white people do that. You don't hear white people saying, "Oh man, this is why white people can't be trusted. This is why problem with white people this, white people that." They don't say that. But if that story was among black people, we would be talking shit about black people. And what I realize is that it goes back to Malcolm X's "Who taught you to hate yourself?" Right? Who taught you to hate yourself? Because white people do not have that negative racial self-esteem like black folk do. You understand? I know I'm sounding kind of hypocritical even saying that, but I want you to see what I'm saying. They don't have that racial that low racial self-esteem. If a white person messes up, they don't talk shit about white people. But here's the thing too. See, because white people talk shit about black people when a black person messes up. Black people talk shit about black people when a black person messes up. You understand? You see that? Again, if you are consuming another people's media, it is ecological. It is environmental. You will get mental from environmental. And I want that at least to be clear. I mean, that's a little off topic, but I want that to at least be clear. But anyway, I appreciate everybody for coming through, spending some time with me. We had two people toward the end, but one of the two people was our matron, so we good, right? But anyway, I appreciate everybody for giving me some of your time. And of course, I want you guys to go and check out our matron. Check out her readings. Her readings are not as distracted as mine are, so you'll get a lot more content. So make sure you guys check it out. But other than that, I appreciate everybody for being here. I also appreciate the 4 likes. And maybe if I see more likes, that would be cool. But otherwise, thank you for spending some time with me. Shami Hotep, Uncle Josh Saneb Neb.